Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the daily AI news you need in around 5 minutes. We kick off today with something of an unexpected one. President Trump has signed an executive order to boost AI education and workforce training. A White House fact sheet said, AI is rapidly transforming the modern world, driving innovation, enhancing productivity, and reshaping how we live and work. America's youth needs opportunities to cultivate the skills and understanding necessary to use and create the next generation of AI technology. Early training in AI will demystify this technology and prepare America's students to be confident participants in the AI-assisted workforce, propelling our nation to new heights of scientific and economic achievement. Preparing our students to be leaders in AI technology also requires investing in our educators, providing them with the tools and knowledge to both train students about AI and utilize the technology in the classroom. Now, in terms of specifics, the executive order establishes a task force on AI education. Led by the Director of the Office of Science and Technology Policy, the committee includes the Secretaries for Agriculture, Labor, Energy, and Education, alongside numerous White House advisors. The task force was instructed to establish a prize called the Presidential Artificial Intelligence Challenge, which will, quote, encourage and highlight student and educator achievements in AI, promote wide geographic adoption of technology advancement, and foster collaboration to address national challenges with AI solutions. Alongside, the task force is instructed to develop online resources for K-12 students in foundational AI literacy via public-private partnerships. The order also contemplates the use of various federal grants to advance the goal of AI education. Teacher training is addressed, with the Secretary of Education instructed to prioritize the use of AI in discretionary grant programs for teacher training, and the Department of Labor is instructed to direct funding towards AI apprenticeships and certification programs designed to provide high school students with workforce credentials for AI careers. As with most EOs, the details are left to government officials to execute. However, White House Staff Secretary Will Scharf gave the elevator pitch, stating, "The basic idea of this executive order is to ensure that we properly train the workforce of the future by ensuring that school children, young Americans, are adequately trained in AI tools." On signing the order, President Trump said, "This is a big deal. AI is where it seems to be at. We have trillions of dollars being invested in AI. AI is the way to the future. Very smart people are investing in it heavily." Now, part of the impetus for moving on AI education is likely pressure from China. Numerous provinces in China have introduced mandatory AI education at all grade levels, K through 12. No doubt the rest of China will quickly follow after the central government recently placed AI at the center of a comprehensive education overhaul. The Education Ministry said that promoting AI will help, quote, cultivate the basic abilities of teachers and students and shape the core competitiveness of innovative talents. Moving over back into business world, OpenAI is now forecasting $125 billion in revenue by 2029. According to investor documents viewed by The Information, OpenAI sees this revenue boost coming as revenue from agents and other products overtake those from ChatGPT. These numbers would put OpenAI firmly in the top tier of tech companies. NVIDIA recorded $130 billion in revenue last year, while Meta recorded $160. OpenAI's 2029 forecast isn't anywhere near terminal growth, with the company predicting they'll be able to achieve 40% growth to hit $174 billion in revenue for 2030. In one sense, the company is extrapolating from very little information. OpenAI achieved $3.7 billion in revenue last year, which was almost 300% year-on-year growth. Predicting what the next 30-fold increase in revenue looks like is speculative, to say the least. But the components of this stratospheric growth say a lot about where the company sees the AI industry going in the medium term. The first point that comes from OpenAI's numbers is that the level of hypergrowth is actually a necessity for the company. They expect to burn $46 billion in cash over the coming 4 years, and that 2029 figure of $125 billion is actually what they need to hit profitability according to their own estimates. Part of how they get there is through cost moderating. The company is predicting that inference costs will come way down over the rest of this decade. Last year, gross profit as a percentage of revenue was only 40%. OpenAI is modeling that ratio increasing to 70% by 2029. Interestingly, that's still lower than the average gross margin of cloud software companies, which is currently around 74%. OpenAI expects another revenue boost to come from new product lines. At the moment, revenue generation is simply two buckets: consumer ChatGPT subscriptions and API usage from developers. The company sees packaged agents like Operator, though, being a big seller as they get more performant. They see agent revenue hitting $29 billion, up from $2 billion this year. Simon Smith from ClickHealth wrote, "Hidden in plain sight with OpenAI's revenue projections is the fact that it's launching agents separate from ChatGPT and expects significant revenue from them this year. We know a software agent is coming. What else?" Now, still, the 2029 projections view ChatGPT subscriptions as a major component of revenue, representing $50 billion in sales, which seems to imply either paid user numbers in the billions or the ability to charge premium prices and push large-scale enterprise deals. The figure is separate from API usage, which OpenAI sees growing to $22 billion by 2029, once again up from $2 billion today. Underpinning all of the numbers is massive expectations of growth in users by the end of the decade. OpenAI expects to hit 3 billion monthly active users, 2 billion weekly active users, and 900 million daily active users by 2030. They're currently at 500 million weekly active users, up 60% since December. For some comparison, Gmail has somewhere in the range of 1.5 to 1.8 billion monthly active users, and Facebook claims 3 billion monthly active users. Speaking of OpenAI, the company's Image Gen API is now available. Developers can now integrate OpenAI's image generation model into their own products. The feature has been one of OpenAI's most successful rollouts ever, with the Ghibli trend powering 700 million uses in its first week of availability. Pricing is set to $40 per million output tokens, with OpenAI saying that this translates to around 2 cents per low-quality image generation, 7 cents on medium settings, and 19 cents for high-quality images. And while indie developers are getting their first opportunity to make use of the model, OpenAI says that the range of corporate partnerships is already extensive. Adobe, Airtable, Wix, Instacart, GoDaddy, Canva, and Figma are already using the mode or experimenting with its integration into their apps. Lastly today on OpenAI, and lastly in general in the headlines, details have been emerging about OpenAI's open source model throughout the week. The company is targeting an early summer release and aims to produce a reasoning model that tops benchmarks. TechCrunch sources say that Aidan Clark, OpenAI's VP of Research, is leading the project, which is still in its early stages. They added that the plan is to release the model with few limits on commercial use, contrasting with open models from Google and Meta that have prohibitions above a certain scale. The goal seems to be to compete with DeepSeek and other open source models out of China, which have relatively few restrictions on how they're used. Sources say the model will be text-only, operating on high-end consumer hardware, and potentially have the ability to turn reasoning on and off. Later in the week, further reporting added that the model could include unique architecture touches to achieve those lofty benchmarking goals. OpenAI leadership are discussing plans to allow the open model to connect to the company's closed models in order to quote-unquote hand off more difficult queries. The feature was reportedly suggested during one of the recent developer forums the company is conducting to source outside input on the model, and the idea is apparently gaining traction within the company. By all accounts, the model is still in the planning phases and training hasn't begun, but there is a lot of excitement about this one, and we will have to keep an eye on it. For now, that is going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief Headlines edition. Next up, the main episode.